Everybody. Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in today. Today, we're going to discuss employee employer relationships. And today, we're going to read Ephesians and Colossians. Please excuse the nervousness in my voice. I've never went live before. However, this is the only way I can actually, get it out without having to, wait for processing and all that. So we're going to get right into it. And we know that your job is a big part of your life. You are there at your job more than you are at home. So your job can affect your very soul. If things are not going well at work, then things may not go very well at home because you're at work more than you are at home. And a lot of people feel trapped because they feel like, okay, even though things are going bad at work, I have to stay where I am because I don't think I'm going to get anything better. I don't think I'm going to get the benefits or anything that I'm getting here. So I just got to deal with it. Well, that's wrong, because we need to know, believers out there know that God's arm is not too short to rescue. You need to pray. You do not have to stick around for mistreatment. You don't have to stick around for anybody that disrespects you while you're working so hard. And you don't need any of that because it will affect you. A lot of people say, oh, I don't care what happens at work. It don't affect me, but you're there at work most of the time. And if work environment is terrible, then by the time you get home, you could have been in a better mood by looking for other employment. Sometimes it's not all about the money. It's about your sound of mind, about you being able to work and not have to worry about people being rude to you, not have to worry about people being disrespectful to you. Your boss in particular, I'm not even talking about people whom you serve. I'm talking about your boss, someone you have to see every day. Every day, they are the ones that tell you what to do. They are the ones that tell you how to do it. They are the appointed masters, if you will, of that place. That is your boss. A different word for master now, it can be translated to me, that's your boss. Your boss lets you know when you're coming in. Your boss lets you know when you're leaving. Your schedule, how you have to plan your very life, how you have to plan your own finances, because your boss is in charge of all of that. Okay? Now, what we're going to get into today is when we are out there looking for employment, or if you have employment already and you are a believer, praise God, you need to look at these very facts about your employer, okay? Because your employer, if your employer doesn't believe in being a good person, they just don't believe in it. They don't believe in any of it. They got to the top by either shameful acts, stepping on someone else's head to get there, sucking up. They didn't deserve the position. So who is controlling that person that is the boss of you? Probably Satan. And that Satan's going to use your boss to try to destroy you. Try to get you to be too tired to read the word. Trying to get you upset every day. Every day. I know y'all have bosses out there that go out of their way to make you upset. Who does that sound like? That sounds like Satan at work. Just like God is the master worker, Satan's always at work trying to take down our zeal every single day. And he knows that we are at work most of the time of our lives. What better place to try to get you down than there? So we're going to read about what the Christ said and what we should do as an employee, and also what we should look for in an employer before we work for people like this. Okay, so let's open our Bibles up to Ephesians chapter 6, verse 5. It says here, and I want to say this, that the word slave, that's employee. And if you look up the definition of slave, it's the first definition is one that's forced into servitude. And then the second definition is someone that's excessively worked. Now, how many people feel excessively worked? Okay? That makes you a slave. And you have to for the money. How else you going to pay your bills? But you're very overworked. So that's what an employee is. Slaves, be obedient to your human masters with fear and trembling in the sincerity of your hearts as to the Christ. Not only when being watched, just to please men, but as Christ's slaves doing the will of God whole soul, with a good attitude, as to Yahweh and not to men. For you know that whatever good each one does, he will receive this back from God, whether he is a slave, employee, or a free man, a boss. Okay? Now we're going to stop right there. And Paul is telling us in Ephesians here that what we must do as employees, we have to do what our bosses tell us to do. We have to be obedient. If your boss tells you to go and type up some type of report or whatever, you're going to have to do it, or you're going to be, not productive, and they're going to get rid of you. So yeah, you have to be obedient to your bosses, but only because the Christ told you to do it, not because of that human's title and authority. That human got that title and authority from God. They may not know it, but you know it. We know it. So for that reason alone, we have to do what they tell us to do, or they can just get rid of you. You're not productive. And we do it with the sincerity, because anything that has our name on it, we want to make sure that we did it whole souled. It says you do your work to the best of your ability. You get the production out there because you know God blessed you with that job. You know it. And he's he is the boss. He's in our minds, in believers' minds, God is the boss, the only boss. Okay. So having that said, he said, not just when you're being watched, says it right in Ephesians 6:6 here, not only when being watched, just to please men. Donkey kissing. Okay? Donkey kissing. They don't do that type of hard work when the boss ain't around. They only do it when the boss is around, because they want a donkey kiss. They want to please men. Let me tell you, God sees everything under the sun. And if you working hard all the time, he sees you all the time. Your boss, your human boss, isn't going to see you all the time, nor is your human boss going to recognize you all the time. Okay. So we're going to go on to 7. I mean, well, it says with a good attitude, of course, as to God, because we know. So now we're going to go on to 9, and it says what bosses should be doing. Also, you masters, keep treating them in the same way, not threatening, for you know both their master and yours is in the heavens, and there is no partiality with him. Finally, go on acquiring power in the Lord and in the mightiness of his strength. Okay? We're going to keep going, I feel like. Put on the complete suit of armor from God so that you may be able to stand firm against the crafty acts of the devil. Because we have a struggle not against blood and flesh, but against the governments, against the authorities, against the world rulers of this darkness, against the wicked spirit forces in the heavenly places. So we all have a battle, a real battle. It goes beyond anything. And we, in our bosses, it says right in 9 here, keep treating them in the same way, meaning that you are someone's boss because you want this company. They put you here. God put you here so that way you can help this company get to be in a better status. Does God want you to go threatening people, you bosses, with I'm going to have your job, and being mean to somebody when they have a family emergency, or doing stuff that's inhumane just because you're a boss? No, that is not how God wants you to treat people. He puts you in the authority, so you have to do your job whole souled. You have to make sure that you're pleasing God when you're doing your job. He said it right here. Anything that you do good will come back to you. We remember in Galatians, you reap what you sow. And a lot of people that are in high positions, they are weak against these spiritual forces because they do not want to put on the full armor of God. They have let the company take all their time so they cannot read and see how they should be treating their employees. I'm going to tell everybody right now. We're going to go and I love how the Bible's just so repetitive. So that way you definitely know why. Okay? You know why. And I am, anybody that has a boss that treats them terribly, they don't know God, they don't know how to be a nice person, they don't know God. And I'm going to tell you this right now. If they don't know God or care about his statutes, and they do not seem to be good people at all, get another job. I don't care what benefits they're giving you. I don't care how much money they're giving you. Money is not worth your spiritual health to put up with somebody like that. The Christ did not sit there and die for you to go to work and be ridiculed like that and be disrespected like that. God will be your rear guard in finding a better job. You don't need that. If they're not acting like they're supposed to be acting, and they don't want good things to come to them, then why should they have you as an employee? Someone that does everything whole souled, someone that makes the production, someone that makes the numbers happen, making their pockets richer, and they treat you like that? Leave. God will be your rear guard in finding something better. I swear he will. He's done it for me. So I'm testifying and I'm boasting about his power. He will find you a better job. I swear it. I swear he will help you. You do not have to let Satan take away your zeal. Because at the end of the day, if you let him, he will. He will. And I can't find the other one here. But, here it is. Colossians. Chapter 3, verse 22. And we're going to read it again. Again, he's telling us, okay? You slaves, be obedient in everything to those who are your human masters, not only when they are watching just to please men, but with sincerity of heart, with fear of God. Whatever you are doing, work at it whole souled, as for Yahweh, and not for men. For you know that it's from Yahweh you receive the inheritance as a reward. Slave for the Master Christ. Okay. Certainly, the one who does wrong will be repaid for the wrong he has done, and there is no partiality. And we're going to go on to 4 for the bosses. See, he said it again. We reading it again, y'all. This is a different book, Colossians now. You masters, treat your slaves in a righteous and fair way, knowing that you also have a master in heaven. Persevere in prayer and remaining awake in it with thanksgiving. Now, remaining awake means that means you got to be in the Word every day. Even if you're reading just a couple of passages a day, fine, but you need to stay awake. You need to stay awake. I would suggest reading more than just a couple of passages a day, because you will know the future if you keep on reading. I jump all around in the Bible. I believe I read the whole thing now because everything is starting to look familiar a lot in the past 8 years. I've been doing this. So we need to stay awake and persevere in prayer, because he knows, especially for these bosses out there that don't have no time for him, because their boss is making sure they're overworked, you see. And at the same time, pray also for us, that God may open a door for the word, so that we can declare the sacred and secret about the Christ, for which I am in prison bonds, and that I may proclaim it as clearly as I ought to. See? Prison bonds is that jail, is our bonds, you know, our money bonds. That's our prison bars. Nobody has time. And I get it, because it's hard when you come home, you're tired, you know, but we got to treat this like how we were in college. You know what I mean? Like how it's a grade. This is a final grade, and if you fail this final grade. So, bosses out there, I know there is a big battle that you must fight. And I pray that you fight it, those that love the Christ and those that are in positions of authority. But I must say, the world is ran by the wicked, like we read in John. And that means a lot of people that are in high positions they don't even care about the Christ. They stay celebrating Christmas, but they don't care nothing or know anything about the person they celebrating. Okay, so we're going to move on from that. I'm just being real. It is what it is. So, having that said, if you are being mistreated by your boss of employment, please have faith that God's arm is not too short to rescue. He has rescued people for generation upon generation. He has probably rescued people in your family upon generation. Why wouldn't he rescue you from the hand of the wicked, from the clutch, from the lion's grip, snatch you right out of the lion's mouth? Do not let your boss treat you like that. Pray, persevere in prayer. Get that strength up and confidence up. Get your resume out there, and you pray and you get something better. Don't you dare sit there and let somebody that you are a good person. You do everything whole soul. You made that company thousands upon thousands. I have made a company more money than I do in a year. In one day, with just the assistance of one other person. And they treated me like I was a piece of dung and walked all over me. But I'm going to tell you right now, God has my back. And he gonna have yours too, because that's what Satan does. He takes down hardworking, whole-souled people down to the gutter. Don't let him persevere in prayer, like Paul said. And the God will be your rear guard. You can get a better job. You will be happier. And even if it's a pay cut, you're going to feel happy every single time you driving home. It ain't bad. You get up to go to work again. It's not that bad. And you're going to think it was the best decision of your life to leave that place. I don't care if you've been there 20 years. If you are feeling like you are being mistreated and they are not treating you with the respect that you deserve, leave. And I'm saying it again, leave. Pray and leave. Because it ain't right. So, everybody, give your life to the Christ. Bosses, employees, so that way the work environment can be much better for everybody. No, we can't bring religion into work, but we can bring good behavior and respectful behavior to work. We can bring hospitality. We can bring respect. We can bring kindness. And we can have a nice work environment where production is wonderful. But at the end of the day, remember what the Bible said. Whatever good you do will come back to you. So make sure you do a lot of good. So that way it'll come back to you. Thank you for tuning in, Scatter Sheep. And have a wonderful, blessed day. Give your life to the Christ. Nobody is perfect. You don't need to be perfect to give your life to the Christ. But don't let him die in vain. Try every day. Praise Yah.